All right, folks, welcome in. This is JE Live, and just like every Monday, except for that one Monday that I had to do it on a Tuesday, we are back for Mock Draft Monday. So really excited to do this, of course. We started our draft profiles or whatever, our draft prospect previews, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well. We talked about Makai Lemon and we talked about Jordan Tyson. Next up, we got Omar Cooper Jr. and then Carnell Tate and many others. So, look, we're back. We're ready to go. And that also means that it is time for a mock draft. Now, I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to do a poll because I am a man of the people. I am going to do a poll to see which one you want because PFF has just recently updated, and it's a different update. It's definitely different. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. Okay? So PFF has made it so you can choose big boards. So I want to ask you guys, to be honest with you, I don't know who that is, so apologies there. Not this one, because that's a work in progress. Do you want to do the 2026 board, Trevor Sikkema's big board, or big board 4.0? And we're not going to do like a full-on poll. I'll just read the chat. Either put Sikkema 2025 4.0, and yeah, there you go. Big board 4.0. 4.0. What's up? How you guys doing? All right. I see a lot of 4.0s. So we're doing the 4.0. We're riding the 4.0 train here. Okay. So with that said, we got that randomness there. I think draft for needs is way too high. Teams don't really draft for needs like that. They draft for needs about this, I'd probably say around here. And then positional value, I'd say, is about the same, maybe even a little bit higher than need. Okay, so there we are. We got 7 rounds. Let's have some fun. So we're going to dive into this thing. I'm going to tell you right now, we might do multiple mock drafts depending on how quickly this goes. If it's too quick, then we'll do another one. No big deal. So I am going to Scoot, I see the PC. That's awesome. That is very exciting. That sounds like a freaking beast. RTX 5080. Damn. Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, on that note, we're not going to trade up on this one. So this is the Rams either trading down or sticking at pick 13. So far, based on this, the Rams have their pick of the litter here at 13. They can get any wide receiver that their heart desires, any pass catcher their heart desires. This would be an insane situation. We're talking about Carnell Tate being available, Kenyon Sadiq, Makai Lemon, Jordan Tyson, right? Omar Cooper Jr. You have all of those weapons. You want an offensive weapon. The Rams are out on A.J. Brown, according to multiple reports. And to be honest with you, I believe it. I don't believe ever, and maybe I'll do a separate video on this, I don't ever believe that the Rams were going to trade Devontae Adams. I don't buy it. I'm not one of those people that likes to crap on Mike Florio. I think sometimes he has some good things. I think he got bad info on that. So, here's where we're at. Carnell Tate, haven't done a video on. Basically, what I came away with watching Carnell Tate, because I'm not finished with the eval yet, but you're getting somebody who, in my opinion, really good route runner. Obviously, he can go vertically. He can win after the catch. He's not super strong after the catch. So he's not going to break tackle after tackle, but he catches seemingly everything in sight. My big thing with him is that he really does everything well, but he feels like a wide receiver too. Like, I don't see the upside. I personally don't think he's going to be the number one receiver in this draft. So, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I would pass on Cardinal Tate. I know he's rated the highest wide receiver here. I get that. I am not as high on Cardinal Tate as everyone else. So, and I'm going to just break all these guys down because, look, we're in a uncharted territory here. I don't think I've ever seen a mock draft where the Rams were picking at 13 and all these guys fell. Okay? That's where we're at right now. So, Cardinal Tate catches everything. Okay? He's good contested catch-wise, really good contested catch guy. Good, very, very good route runner, high football IQ, and he can block. Like, he does it all, right? I just don't feel like there's enough, like, wow to his game to justify picking him 13 overall. I am not trying to say he's not a good player, but I'm just missing that wow factor. Like, I don't feel like I think he's going to be a really good 2. Like, it wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think he's going to be like a Jordan Addison. He's like a 1-2 punch. Now, I understand you're probably at home thinking, Jake, Puka Nacua, right? Now, I could change my mind on Tate. I haven't finished his eval yet. That's just based on what I have so far in my notes. But that said, at home, you might be saying, Jake, Puka Nacua, you don't need a wide receiver 1. You're right. I don't. But if I'm going to draft a pass catcher at 13, he better be freaking good, okay? It's that simple. And I think Cardinal Tate's good, but I don't think he's top 15 good, at least so far. Maybe when I finish my eval, I'll feel differently. Currently, I don't know. So, there's also the opportunity here to trade down, which some people might scoff at, but you're sitting there with Tate, Sadiq, Lemon, Tyson, and Omar Cooper Jr. That's 5 offensive weapons. If you trade down, I mean, think about this. You are locked into one of them if you trade down with the Lions here. Go down to 17. You're guaranteed at least one of those guys. Okay? That's kind of how I look at it. You trade down, you're most likely going to get one of those guys, but it's not a guarantee if you trade down. But that's what we're talking about. So, okay, that's Tate. Kenyon Sadiq, all right? This is the thing about Kenyon Sadiq, and I haven't finished my eval on him yet. I haven't put a video out, whatever. When I watch Sadiq, this is clearly the best tight end in the draft. He's just far and away the best, in my opinion. Whereas wide receiver, it's not as clear as day who the best is. I have the number one receiver, in my opinion, but it doesn't mean that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. I just personally think Omar Cooper Jr. is the best receiver in this draft. But okay, let's continue. So Sadiq, we're talking about historic athlete, okay? Like crazy athleticism. We're talking about 4.39 40 time at tight end. We're talking about a 43.5-inch vertical. We're talking about a guy who isn't quite Calvin Johnson as far as the size, but he tested very similar to Calvin Johnson. We're talking about a willing and tenacious blocker. That's not normally something you see for the undersized tight end. No, it's not. He's also high football IQ equipped. He also has great yards after the catch ability. Now, at the same time, to be fair to Cardinal Tate, he doesn't catch everything like Tate does. He has some concentration drops. He makes the crazy catch, but sometimes he doesn't make the easy catch. He is slightly limited. He's not a route running savant, not yet anyway. And, you know, to be fair, that is 6'3", 241 in a position where you already have 4 guys that are capable. It is kind of a logjam. So if he's not number one on your board here, then there's not really a point to adding him. Okay. Then we move on to Mekhi Lemon. I just did a video on Lemon. Lemon has a lot of things, okay? He's a willing blocker, but he's not effective, though. He gets, completely blown back in the blocking game because he doesn't have the functional strength. But this is somebody that has some of the best route pacing you could find in this draft. He's absolutely pro-ready in the slot. He offers return ability to boot. I think he has inside-outside versatility, but that's to be determined, right? So you're talking about a stable presence as a slot receiver. He breaks tackles. He can straight up make guys miss in space. He's a legitimate deep threat, maybe not a burner, but He's so good at ball tracking and creating separation. And like I said, the route pacing, he could stop on a dime, start on a dime, just elite route pacing, right? And I think that's something that I don't know if anybody else in this draft has that level of control over just themselves. If you're looking at yourself as a route runner and you're looking at yourself in terms of like, I'm a car, right? I'm driving a car. The handling on Makai Lemon is filthy as a route runner. He has full control, and not everybody can say that. He's crisp in and out of his breaks. He's just really polished, and he's a great separator. My issue here is that he has 9 percentile hands, which, and the arms aren't great. So you're talking about measurements that very few receivers succeed in the NFL with those measurements. He really struggles to get off the line of scrimmage on the outside and press coverage, which I think limits that inside-outside ability. So you're strictly drafting a slot receiver here who doesn't have the functional strength to block at the level you'd like him to. So I don't know for that reason if he's a fit over those guys for the Rams. I know he is a fan favorite. I know a lot of people like him, and I get that. I just don't know how much of a fit he is for the Rams. And I understand not everybody's going to like that, right? But that's my thing. So, all right. That said, we move on to Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson is a route running savant. He's the best route runner in this draft. Silky smooth, like never gives away his move. Like we're talking, shoulder square, the whole nine, right? He's a quality blocker. He's going to show up. It's stock blocking. He's going to show up there. He's going to be able to put his blocking game together at the next level. He's already good enough to be reliant there. He has gadget ability. He shows potential to get, up and actually make a play on the football. He has inside-outside versatility, really sound hands. Only dropped 1 pass in 2025. Mind you, he dropped a ton before that, 12 passes before that. He's got good size, right? Strong player. 90 percentile bench press. To be fair, I saw people in the comment section like, did you see the bench press? I did. I understand why people are saying what they're saying, to be fair. I compared him to Stephon Diggs. I compared, who did I even compare Makai Lemon to? Who is it again? Oh, Golden Tate. So yeah, I compared Makai Lemon to Golden Tate, and I compared Jordan Tyson to Stephon Diggs. I think the thing about Tyson here is that the Rams are really going to have to decide if they're okay picking the guy that is banged up, that has had issues staying healthy, has never played a full season in college, okay? He started off at Colorado, he transferred, and he tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL. He had to sit out the next year. Then he dealt with a concussion. He dealt with a collarbone issue. And then this past year, the one that concerns me more than any of them was he was dealing with a hamstring. So the injury list. And then you have Omar Cooper Jr., who I think just does it all. I mean, you're looking at a tenacious blocker. I think he's the best blocking wide receiver in this draft. Tate is right there, right? But Cooper Jr. is a special blocker. I just, and I think also wasn't utilized 20% on the outside this year. So now everyone is going to think that he's a slot guy, but he has a release package to get off the line of scrimmage on the outside. I'm not worried about him against press coverage. I actually think he is a true inside-outside guy. He needs to do a better job of finishing those deep passes and contested catch opportunities. That, to be fair, I don't know what the Rams would do here exactly, but I am going to venture a guess that they pick Jordan Tyson, and that is who I'm going with. So I think Jordan Tyson is the pick here. I think Rams fans are going to be upset because he might not be the guy you wanted. Obviously, it's not Lemon. I know a lot of Rams fans with the USC connection want Lemon. Here's my thing. If I'm trying to be realistic here, and I'm trying to do what I think in that scenario what the Rams would do, I think the Rams are picking Jordan Tyson because I think he provides that verticality, but I also think he is the best route runner. And because he's the best route runner in the draft, route running and separation always translates, almost always. And I just think, like, you watch the way he plays, inside outside versatility, that route running savant, that is exactly what you're looking for, not just this year, but this is how you justify this pick. He is the perfect replacement for Davante Adams on the outside. The injuries are concerning. I don't know if I would make the decision. Okay, I don't know if I would draft him. I would take Cooper. I personally would, or I would trade down. But Jordan Tyson was the best receiver outside of maybe Mekhi Lemon, and that's still close. Was arguably the best receiver this past year. Okay, when he was on the field, I mean, even when he was banged up, he was still playing at a high level. He knows how to draw penalties. He knows how to draw, pass interference calls. And like I said, there isn't a ton of holes in his game. I don't think he's incredibly fast. I don't think he's a blazing fast guy, but he's going to win and he's going to create separation. And like I said, he can block well enough to stay on the field. I think the Rams go with Jordan Tyson as of today. Now, that could change. But as of today, based on what they're interested in, I think Jordan Tyson is a Ram at 13. So now we move on to 61. And here's the one that, this becomes interesting because the Rams don't have any needs. They have wants. You and I have ideas of what we would want them to do. They don't have any needs that are pressing, right? Igbinosun makes sense because of the connection. He also makes sense because they do need cornerback help. They get a big corner that could be behind Jalen Watson on the depth chart because you still get that 6'2", around 200 body type. He's really grabby. He's not ready to play right away on the outside, thrown into the fire as a starter. But you come to the Rams where they have Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson and Emmanuel Forbes, and we'll see if they add another. That's not a bad fit for him. I just think that's a little high. I see him more as a third rounder. So then you look and you're like, okay, Josiah Trotter's interesting, right? But he's not a great coverage linebacker. He is a monster, right, in the run game, but he is not a great coverage linebacker, okay? So that's a concern. Derek Moore is a player that I think the Rams could really be interested in, okay? This is a guy that can kind of do it all. He's not the best edge defender in the draft. That's why he'd be available right now, late in the second. But I like Derek Moore a lot, and I don't think we drafted him last time. We came close, or maybe we did. But I actually think right now, Derek Moore gives them flexibility and some ammunition in those, discussions, those extension conversations with Byron Young and his agent. So I'm not saying that that's where they would go because I want to evaluate every single option the Rams have. Now, remember, when we were talking about Moore, the one thing that I don't love is that he's speed to power, okay? The Rams already have two of those guys, okay? Byron Young is a lot like that, and so is Jared Verse. Jared Verse is very much like that, but his hand technique is advanced, and I think this is somebody that could really help. He was, a productive player. He was a captain. These are things that the Rams look out for. He's got really good frame. I know he's only 6'3", and the Rams like they're 6'5", 6'6", type of guy. But, this guy, he's got 34-inch arms. I mean, he's got enough there where you look at him, and I think he could really produce. And, of course, you already have Josiah Stewart. So now you have a really disgusting rotation there if you want to go that route. I also feel like Kyle Lewis, just feels like a Ram. And I've said that. I've said I could see Kyle Lewis on the Rams because, you look at Kyle Lewis and he's somebody that can help you in coverage. Now, I don't know if the Rams are going to be willing to add another linebacker to the room. They just went out. They got Grant Stewart, who, of course, is going to be like a special teams ace. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a captain. You have, Dolak, who's going to be back, and he's, of course, going to help in special teams, and he played last year in a rare start. Troy Reeder might be back. I don't know if they'll sign him or not, but you do have Spates and you do have Nate Landman. My feeling after watching the tape, okay, because I watched it again, towards the end of the year, Landman struggled. Okay, I absolutely understand where everyone's coming from. He did struggle. It's not bad to say that Nate Landman was not playing the same level of football he was earlier in the year. It's absolutely fair. I also think the moment Quentin Lake went down, I think Landman took a hit. I think his play took a hit. I don't know. He didn't seem to play with the same sense of urgency, and he wasn't as effective, especially missing tackles. And then, of course, he was never great in pass coverage anyway. He was a run defending linebacker. That's always what he was. So that said, I think Omar Speights gets a raw deal. I think people should, they crap on Speights, and I get it. So Speights gave up the catch against the Panthers on the third down. It wasn't great, right? But it was also zone coverage. When he's been in man coverage, he's actually had some really good reps. And if the Rams play more man coverage, I actually think he could have a really good, potentially really good year at linebacker in those coverage opportunities. But if they do decide, you know what, we're with everyone else, we feel it, we're with everyone else, okay? If that's the case, this guy, Kyle Lewis, is an elite coverage linebacker in this draft. Like, he's one of the best coverage linebackers in this draft. He's got crazy closing speed, sideline to sideline speed. We're talking about explosiveness. He's smart. He's instinctive. You can use him as a blitzer. He's got ball skills. He had 6 interceptions over the last 2 seasons, but he actually goes up and attacks the football. He's not like a linebacker going after the football. He attacks the football at its highest point. So it's tough, man, because you look and you're like, Kyle Lewis makes a lot of sense for the Rams. The question is, first off, the missed tackle rate's pretty high. And second, do the Rams value linebacker? And do they value a guy who, look, I mean, he's 6'1", 220. He's not built to play a linebacker spot in a 3-4 defense. Now, the Rams aren't your stereotypical 3-4, but he's not built to be that. So do you want to go that route? Do you not want to go that route? So here's what we're looking at here, folks, okay? You got Derek Moore, really good pass rusher. Obviously can help you in the run game as well. You got Chris Brazzell, who I would be interested in, except we already added a wide receiver. Double dipping just doesn't feel like something the Rams are going to do, but I really like this player, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes late first. Then you have going after a tackle in Caleb Tiernan, who isn't a great run blocker, but he's a very good pass protector. Typically, just going to play on the left side. I mean, I just don't know if they're going to draft a guy at 61 that might not play the entire year. Then you got Traden Stukes, who's interesting. He fits. He's scheme versatile. He's got good size. This could be a guy that, he had 4 interceptions this past year. He did have kind of a down 2024, but then he was outstanding in 2025. I could see them going with him. I could see him go with Igbinosun. It just feels a little early for him. That's my personal preference. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't go that way. Could also see them just saying screw it and going after Mike Washington Jr. I mean, I'm not saying that they will, but the Rams would be getting a running back, a body type, a structure that they don't currently have in that running back room. So if they want to go all in on running back, I mean, Mike Washington Jr. at 6'2", 220-something pounds with that crazy athleticism, I mean, they could do that. There's a lot of different things because, I just feel like, and this is why I wanted this, mock draft, if you will, to be more informational. Because I had people complain last time, Jake, you didn't really go through a lot of the guys. So I listen to feedback. I do. Kamari Ramsey could be interesting, but do the Rams need another safety? And this feels like one where the Rams, they don't draft second-round safeties. They don't really draft second-round secondary players. They typically like going for them on day 3. Now, if you ask me, if he was here, the guy that I would want, the guy that I think is a perfect fit for the Rams, is already gone, and his stock is rising big time, and that is, wow, did he go in the, he did not go in the first round. Okay. No, he did. Oh my God. Okay, never mind. Well, D'Angelo Ponce. I think Pons is a great fit in the second round if he falls to the Rams. I don't care about the size there at 5'9". Guy has the best vertical in the draft. He's incredibly athletic, and he very much, fits the mold of like a Trent McDuffie on the outside, but he can also play on the inside. So it gives you another guy that you can use in dime, but also he gives you an opportunity. Well, you might have this guy for a long time. He might replace Trent McDuffie, at the end of Trent McDuffie's deal, right? Like, this is a really good player, and it doesn't surprise me that, he could be going in the first round here. I like Pons a lot. He's one of the players that I really like. Dunker I really like, but he didn't fall here. So anyway, back to the whole thing. We're talking about guys that are available. Stukes is really interesting here. Bolsters your cornerback room. Tiernan gives you your left tackle of the future if you move off Alec Jackson. Keep in mind, Alec Jackson has two separate instances where blood clots have cost him playing time. Okay. And one cost him a full season. So that's something to consider. Derek Moore, you don't have issues at edge. Okay. You have guys there, but Moore would create a just absolutely lethal rotation and would just give Chris Shula so many different things to go about. Okay. Brazel, I don't see them double dipping on wide receiver. Josiah Trotter, great run defender. Kyle Lewis is the pass, he's the really good pass coverage linebacker. Davison Igbinosun has the familiarity, the length on the outside. Danny Dennis Sutton, honestly, I think this would be interesting too. He's kind of the build that the Rams would go after. So that's, a guy to look out for. I mean, I'm curious what you guys think in the chat, based on, everything that I've mentioned. Who are you leaning to? I want to start seeing like names start popping out, and then I'm going to tell you who I think the Rams would go after, because I'll tell you, Danny Davis Sutton doesn't have the bend that I want. Okay. But the Rams also haven't really shown that they care that much about bending for an edge defender. Okay. And this guy is a great athlete, and he's honestly built very similar to Jared Verse. So, I mean, that's interesting. Washington, I'm going to say they don't go. That just feels a little bit too much. They're probably not going to go with wide receiver. So let's eliminate that. So when you eliminate the wide receiver, we'll put quarterback in there. They're not going to go quarterback at pick 61. So we'll go tight end. They're probably not going to go tight end. So we'll go offensive tackle, unlikely, but still possible. Interior offensive line, if they like somebody enough. Cornerback, not safety. I don't see it. Defensive interior, edge, linebacker. Okay. This is your board. And based on this, the player that I could see the Rams really liking, I'm leaning towards Stukes. I think Igbinosun, we've seen this before. I don't want to get too carried away. We've seen this before where the Rams have had a coach on their staff that coached a certain player in the draft. Drew Dahlman, okay? They passed on Drew Dahlman. Dahlman was coached by Kevin Carberry, and they did not take Drew Dahlman. Do you remember that? We all did that. We all had Drew Dahlman going there. So Davison Igbinosun, while he seems like a likely fit here, I am going to go with Stukes. I think Stukes, based on this, it's tough. It's Stukes. It's Moore. It's Kyle Lewis to me. Those are the top three. I'm going to go with Stukes. I think he's the best available here. So I'm going to pick him. So now the Rams have a wide receiver of the future in Jordan Tyson, and they have Traden Stukes, who is going to be a part of this team. He's going to be utilized in dime. He's going to be rotated in, and he's a really good backup to have at the same size as Jalen Watson. So it allows you to do similar things. Now we're on to round 3. This is where a quarterback makes sense. This is where Offensive tackle still in play. Inside interior offensive line. A running back could be in play, right? You got cornerback. I don't think they go back to back on that. They typically don't draft cornerbacks. I think this year they're going to take one early. Interior defensive line, edge, and linebacker. So this is what we're looking at currently. Okay? We got Corleone, who has a great name, and he's an outstanding run defender. He doesn't offer a lot as a pass rusher. Okay? So there's that. And by the way, the run stop rate isn't great either. He's a big body that gets in the way, but he also isn't super tall, which I don't really care about, but that's interesting. This is funny. I might go in a different direction here. So I actually see the Rams trading out of this pick. I do. So I'm going to actually trade out of this pick here. I'm going to see what they have, and we're going to go down here. If we stay in the third round, I mean, that would still be kind of cool. And pick up 121. Is that even possible? No, that's not possible. Maybe 135. I want it to be fair, too. Like, I'm not trying to stiff the computer here, even though I don't really care about the computer. It's more so for you guys. I want it to be somewhat realistic. Less need makes trades, okay? So we're trying to do something that I think the Rams will do. So at this point, pick 93 is worth 128 points. Going down with the Steelers, that would be, let's see, 24 points. So that would give the Rams 161, not 135. That wouldn't be fair. Or 159. Around 159. Okay. So, let's just do that. We'll do move down 6 spots, pick up 159. So that's it. You get a 5th round pick back. I think that's a fair trade. Yeah. Or screw it. If the Rams are going hard, go big or go home here. Let's do. They get pick 121. So that would be 156 points, 128 for the Rams there. The Rams would then give up. Let's see here. Give up 2. So they're getting 2 picks there. They would give up the rest of their draft. No, that doesn't feel like something they would do. Let's do round 4. Round 4 next year. And Rams get pick 99, 121. I want it to be fair, man. I don't want to do too much here. So 24. And then they give up a 4th rounder. So that 4th rounder would theoretically be 23 points. That technically would be enough. So I don't know why they're saying it's such a lopsided trade. Yeah, I don't know. That would be enough for 121. It says lopsided, but maybe round 5. Okay. Well, screw it. We'll do round 5. And we'll take 159. No, let's not play around with this. We'll take those 2. Okay? There we go. So I picked 99. I'm deciding between a few different things here. Looking at it, we got quarterback, we got running back, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, interior defensive line, edge, and linebacker. Keep in mind, we only have 2 picks so far that we've made. I think Corleone, great name, not in play here. I think both Aller and Nussmeier are. I think Coleman is in play here because, again, you're getting a different body type. We're talking about almost a 230-pound running back. Deontay Lawson, no, because I just don't think he's going to offer that much as far as a coverage guy. Okay, so yeah, you know what? I think it's obvious. I think you guys know where I'm going. I think that this is the quarterback that they like, and I could absolutely be wrong, but I've heard it for a while. I'm going to go with Aller again, and I'm going to have the Rams trading up. So, we're going to trade back up here. We're going to use pick 121. We're going to trade back up to 111. And we're going to give up 206, 255, and 230. No, 206. Okay. All right. This is how I see the Rams operating. I think they're going to try and go for try to get the big fish here. All right. So we're going to put this trade in. Oh, did they accept it? Okay, now they did. Okay. So there we go. We're going to pick at 111. We're going to get Drew Aller here. And that pick 111, he's gone. I totally screwed it up. You know what I was going to go for? I was going to go for Emmett Johnson. I actually think the Rams could be interested in him. Damn. Well, that's why you don't make the trade like that before you know. But oh well, we move on. Bryce Lance, I could actually see. This isn't really like double dipping. You're not like getting them early. But they're similar players. That's the problem. So I'm going to go. That really hurt. I was going to go after Emmett Johnson there. After watching him, I really think he could be a fit for the Rams. They like drafting running backs every year, it feels like. So you got Barham. I'm going to go with Brian Parker. I like him. He can play both left and right tackle. You get your final swing tackle there. You're good. He also has upside. He can take over at right tackle and be the right tackle of the future if they don't sign Warren McClendon Jr. So I'm going to take Brian Parker there. And then down here, we're going to take... We are not in good territory. I like Lake McCree. Yeah, I like Lake McCree here, I think. I think that's where I'm going to go. Unless, is that one... You know what? He's not there. Wet Gen. Because I think the Rams at this point would be getting somebody like on special teams. I'm going to take Emmanuel Henderson. Henderson Jr. I mean, he had a very good year last year. He's got good size, and this is a guy that can return it. I mean, I see him as he's kind of similar to Percy Harvin, honestly. Yeah, I'm going to take Henderson. And then last, we're going to wrap it up here. And we'll take Lake McCree. Grades are not available with custom big board. Okay. So that is it. We got Tyson, Stukes, Aller, Parker, Henderson, and McCree. So that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't think it's a bad draft. I don't think it's a great draft. Mind you, I didn't want Brian Parker initially. I wanted Emmett Johnson. Yeah, I think if the Rams came away with this draft, I think with Stukes and Tyson and Aller and Parker and Henderson and McCree, I think it's a pretty solid draft. But I also understand that some people are living in Delulu land thinking that the Rams are somehow going to end up with 3 first-round picks in a row. And that's just not how it is. Like you're not going to end up with a draft that just has all first-round talent. Also, it's a weaker draft. But let's do a quicker draft here, and we're going to do the regular PFF big board. Okay? Because I want to see the grade this time. We're going to do positional value, a little bit more than the draft for need, and randomness we'll keep there. Okay. All right. Last one. So this time around, we are going to stay at 13 or trade down. Mekhi Lemon's off the board. Carnell Tate's off the board. Tyson's still there. We're not going to draft Tyson again because we just did that. I want to get a little bit different here. Sadiq, we've gone with so many times. I'm going to have the Rams trade down to 20 with the Dallas Cowboys. No, I don't like any of their picks. Trade. That's not going to get accepted. Okay. I actually, I like that. You move down 3 spots. Maybe you add like a late 7th, and that barely goes up. Let's see what the math says. So the trade value chart is showing Rams have oh, that's not the Rich Hill model. Oh my God. Okay. This pick is 336 points. The Jets pick is 305. So that is a 31 point difference that the Jets would have to come up with. The Jets' 33rd pick is 180 points. So that puts them at 485 to the Rams' 336. The Rams' 61st pick is 86 points. So that puts the Rams at, we should be using a calculator, y'all. This is ridiculous. Why am I trying to do math in my head? Okay, 305 and 180. So 485. And the Rams are at 336 plus 86. So the Rams would theoretically have to give up. Yeah, that wouldn't work. As awesome as that would be, Jets would never do that. Because that is, you're only moving up 3 spots and they would not do that. They might do the 44th, the Dallas Cowboys pick, which actually does make sense because Dallas Cowboys pick is 135. So it'd be 440 to the Rams, 336. And then, are they winning that trade? They would be taking a little bit under. I'm going to go with that. I think that's absolutely a fair trade. Jets move up 3 spots to get whoever the hell that they are craving, and the Rams move up big in the second round. This could actually be something the Rams end up doing. So there we go. So Rams are at 16 here. Okay. Jordan Tyson's still there. They're tempting me with that one. All right. So I am going to go in the direction. Maybe I even trade down again. How realistic is that? Maybe. So if they trade, so the 16th pick holds a 305 value. Cleveland has 237. So they would need to come up with what? 65. So 68 points. And then Cleveland's 39th pick. That's not enough. They could get 70. Move down 8 spots, get 70. That is, that is a fair trade. Oh, there we go. So, all right, we move down again. Yeah, that's why I passed up on. I love Sadiq. It's nothing against him. It's just I'm trying to add some variation. Okay. At 24. I've already picked Omar Cooper Jr. way too many times, so I can't go that route, unfortunately. Let's go. We're not going to trade down again. That's not realistic. Caden Proctor. Man, that would be interesting. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go after him. I think he is a great talent. I'm not saying this is who they'll draft. I'm going to draft Peter Woods here. Bolsters the defensive interior line. I mean, this dude looks like an absolute freak show. Okay. Really good. Can be utilized all over the defensive line. I like him a lot. I know there are people in the comments section that have liked him a lot too. So we're going to go with Peter Woods, which is insane, by the way. Peter Woods, Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Poona Ford, Ty Davis, Ty Hamilton. So now at pick 44, where do they go? Well, we moved down twice. We now have 44, 70, and 93. I think we can get our round. Keep in mind, they drafted Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round. They drafted Puka Nacua in the 5th. They drafted Van Jefferson in the 2nd. So it's not unheard of for them to trade out of the first. First off, they don't really draft in the 1st round anyway. Too good to pass up on, though, right now. In this position, Jacob Rodriguez. His stock is so high. We're going to go Jacob Rodriguez there at 70. This one's interesting, right? This is what you're looking at right now. You got your linebacker, your defensive interior. I mean, you've had an all defensive offseason pretty much. Okay. Let's change that. Might seem a little early for some people, but I'm going to go with Bryce Lance here. That's Trey Lance's brother. You know, you have the deep threat ability. You have the outside ability. He can win against press coverage. He's a good route runner. He's physical. He can block. Bryce Lance here at pick 70 is what I'm going to go with. So we got Lance. I think by the time the draft rolls around, this is pretty much where he's going to go. So I don't think it's a reach at all. Okay, so looking at this, we got 2 defensive players. We got a wide receiver. Now, they don't pick until the 6th round after this pick. So do you make it count or do you trade down? The way I see it, I don't think this draft has the depth that I'm looking for. So I'm actually going to try and package these last... I'm going to package these 4 picks and see if I can get one that's late. So that altogether, if I did that, 250 is 1 point. 232 is 3 points. So we're up to 4 points total. 206 is 4, so that's 8. And then 255 is 9. So I'd have 9 points, and I should be able to get up in the 5th round and get a 160 to like 150 pick. So if we're doing that, doesn't matter who we trade with, really. We're just trying to, I mean, it does matter, but yeah, let's just do Houston here. And let's just offer this trade, and we'll spam it until they accept. Okay, they're not going to. That's fine. Let's do. We'll get our pick back from the Chiefs. No, they're not going to accept that. Colts won't accept. Cowboys would for 177. That's good to know. Okay. 177 we can definitely get. 153 we can't. We're not forcing trades, guys. 157's a no. Let's do Chargers. Nope. The Rams and Niners are guaranteed to trade at least once. 171. I don't know. It seems like no. Bills. Nope, not going to work. All right, we'll do 170 with the New Orleans Saints. There you go. These are our picks. Condensed. Lighter draft. I think you go top heavy. Makes a lot of sense. So at pick 93, where do you go? They're trying to win. They're, let's just not have a quarterback like we always do. Interesting. They can go in a few different ways here. I think I'm going to have them taking Jake Slaughter here. So adding to that offense there. You got 2 offense picks, 2 defense picks, and you wrap it up here. We're going to take... Well, it's funny. I said I wasn't going to go, but I might actually do it. We're going to go with Cade Klubnik. And that is your Rams draft class for this one. I mean, it's missing the top heaviness, and I would have drafted Omar Cooper Jr., obviously, but we already did that. I passed on some guys. I experimented. That's really all this is at the end of the day. You're just experimenting. There are going to be people that absolutely hate this draft, and that's fair. Everyone has their own preference. Personally, I understand it. There are a lot of people that say, Jake, that mock draft sucked. To be fair, if I read most of the mock drafts out there, I would say, yep, I would never do that in a million years. I am a picky drafter. I always have been. There are players that I will not even touch. And I'm not drafting them. It's just a mock draft. So, yeah. Anyway, Peter Woods bolsters your interior defensive line. You add him to that rotation. That's filthy. Then you have Jacob Rodriguez. He immediately becomes your best linebacker on the team. There's not a ton of guaranteed money for Nate Landman. It's basically a 1-year deal this year. That's something to keep in mind. Jacob Rodriguez becomes a franchise-level linebacker. Then you have Bryce Lance. He gives you an outside threat, but he can also be a big slot if you need him. And he gives you somebody post Devontae Adams. So then you got Jake Slaughter, and Coleman Shelton's a free agent after the season, but also it's a long season. Having Slaughter as depth helps. And then Klubnik is not at all my favorite quarterback in this draft. He's not. I've actually been very critical of him. But I could see the Rams going that route, so I decided to go that route as he would probably be the best available there. So that's what I got. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's always fun catching up with y'all. Appreciate you. I don't know if anybody dropped a super chat earlier. I didn't get it before the if anybody did it before the stream, I didn't get it. So it's not that I'm not reading it. It's that I'm not receiving those. So I just want to make sure nobody did that. And if they did, let me know what you wrote and I'll happily read it. But if anyone dropped a super chat or became a member beforehand, StreamYard's been a little funky lately. If you do it before the live stream, I don't always see it. So I just wanted to make sure I covered everything there. We got supers, though, that I do see. Constant Dew Drinker. Thank you for the 2. Cooper doesn't sniff the top 3 on anybody's list, though. He does on my list. And honestly, I wouldn't be so sure. It's one of those things. Appreciate the blueberry there. It's one of those things I'm going to point out. This is a mock draft. I have learned, I mean, if I've learned anything over the years with the NFL draft, it's that mock drafts don't always get it right. As a matter of fact, they're probably not going to get it right. And these machines don't know. So the more we do that, the dopamine hit and everything, if, you know, making our own draft and all that, come draft day, there's going to be guys that we totally miss on because the mock draft, we got into the habit of, oh, this is the rhythm that I use, and I get this guy when it falls here. I like to go for this player. I like to go for this player. But then when the draft happens, you're like, wait, that guy I thought was going to go in the 5th round. Yeah, because PFF had him in the 5th round. Like, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean, I know PFF isn't the only mock draft. I like using them personally because I think their user interface is the best by far. May not be perfect, but their user interface is the best for mock drafting, in my personal opinion. And I'm friends with people that have created some of the mock draft machines that you have around the industry. I support them, but for the sake of doing a video, I'm going to go with the one that I think is the easiest to digest, which I think this one is. I did a normal pick. You want me to do one more? All right, let's do one more, and then I'll wrap it up. But constant, I'm just going to say this. Don't be surprised if Cooper ends up going in the top 15. Like, these mock drafts have people conditioned that he's going to go late first, early second. Don't be surprised if he goes top 15. I'm just telling you. The stock is really high right now. DSXZE, appreciate the broccoli. Josiah Trotter, Zion Young, Kyle Lewis, Jake Slaughter, Connor Liu, Jacob Rodriguez, Kamari Ramsey, Zane Durant would be amazing at 61. Well, I got Jake Slaughter at 93, and I got Jacob Rodriguez at 44. So hopefully that worked out for you because I got 2 of your players that you listed there in this one. And then Baker Elpers, thank you for the 2. How does a WTF pull my hair out draft looks like? Oh, that's a good question. All right, I'll do 2 more for you because I love you guys so much. All right, let's do one that I don't want. As it stands now, to be fair, I could change my mind. But currently, this is what I don't want. So this is the don't want, okay? I personally wouldn't want, well, how do I want to do this? Because, I mean, some of them are just obvious. I'm not going to take 7th rounders first. But, all right, well, I wouldn't want that. I'll just tell you right now, I would be a little annoyed if they did. I'd be very annoyed. Well, I mean, this is easy. I don't want any of what I... And then... This would be like my anti-draft. And I'm sure PFF will give this a great grade for whatever reason. At this point, I just feel bad. I'm picking on these guys. It's like, I mean, it's not their fault. I'm picking these at random at the end here. I like this guy's tape a lot, by the way. Anyway, so far we got guard, quarterback, interior defense line, center. Yeah, I would not. This would probably, yeah, I would not like this draft. This would be my absolute least favorite draft. And, of course, it graded better than any of the drafts I've done before. That's so funny. They give Ty Simpson an A+. They're obsessed. PFF is obsessed with Ty Simpson to the Rams. You could draft him at pick 1 of 1. You could trade up. You could give Matthew Stafford. You could give up everybody to go up and get number 1 overall. And if you draft Ty Simpson, you're getting A+. Anyway, that's the one that I wouldn't want. Really more focused on these. Not all these guys deserve the hate, so that's the caveat. All right, last one here. Okay? No trading. We're just staying where we pick. And right off the rip, gonna go with Caleb Downs. It's too good to pass up on. He falls to 13. I don't care. Next. The Rams do tend to reach a little bit on like what the board would look like. I know people like him. He's fun. I can't see it. He's more of a slot guy, and the Rams really like using Puka in the slot. But I'm going to say screw it here. Yeah, that's right. I said screw it. Now I'm going to say they do something ridiculous. Mike Washington Jr. And then at pick 93, I'll have him go with Malachi Fields. And since we can't trade down, yeah, this is kind of, I don't know. I'll probably change my tune because I'll probably find these, like when I dive into these guys more, I'll find ones that really stand out to me. I don't right now have anybody that I'm like obsessed with. I mean, I guess I'll just go with Murdoch just for the hell of it. And then Nowakowski, who I like. And I'll go with Jalen Daniels. And then wrap it up with Moten. Mike Washington Jr. got D+. I'm just saying, I could absolutely see it. I could absolutely see it. Anyway, I'm all mock drafted out. Got to give me another week to recoup. But that said, I appreciate you guys. This has been fun. Just hanging out for an hour with y'all. Yeah. Keep it here. We're going to have more breakdowns of prospects. Like I said, next is Xavier. Who the hell's Xavier? I've done that now twice. Omar Cooper Jr. Okay, there's an Xavier Cooper, I think. Who is Xavier Cooper? I've heard that before. Is that a cornerback? No. He's a defensive lineman. Oh, yeah, Washington State. Okay. He hasn't played in years, and yet I still mention his name. It's also weird because I also find myself almost saying Jalen Foster. Remember the Southern Miss running back? Jalen Foster? My brain is weird, brother. It's weird. So, I don't know. It's getting to that point. But, appreciate you guys. Omar Cooper Jr. is the next video. Then Carnell Tate. And then we'll see. I think I want to stick to wide receiver for now. Then I'll do Kenyon Sadiq after I finish the wide receivers, or I'll just throw Kenyon Sadiq in there. But that is going to do it. Before I head on out of here, be sure to like, subscribe, comment if you haven't already, and follow me on all social media at JK Bogan for more updates. I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.